Global happenings today. We communicate. We analyze global news.
Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. One of the issues of concern right now in Nigeria is the fact that the president is not in the country. Shetima is not in the country, talking about the vice president. And yesterday, Peter Obi came out and screamed, telling Nigerians why it is absolutely wrong what the president has done. Don't forget that the president told Nigerians that he will be off for the next 14 days. And we all have heard how he moved from one place to the other. Currently, he is in France. And Peter Obi was of the option that if you are in France, which is about 833 nautical miles from Stockholm, Sweden, why then are you telling the vice president to travel to Sweden for a 2-day walking visit? That it doesn't make any sense, considering the fact that you have already gotten for yourself a very new powerful jet. Why not just 2 hours you be in Stockholm and carry out whatever the walking visit you're supposed to carry out there, than telling the vice president, who will need to travel at least 3,055 nautical mile, over 9 hours, to get down to Stockholm. He talked about so many things that this is a clear case of irresponsibility, that it does not represent any kind of fiscal responsibility and common sense that is expected of leaders whose people are facing this level of hunger, severe hunger and poverty. And he said it is time for the leadership to show true and committed leadership to the people by making decisions that prioritizes well-being of the people and effective management of the nation's scarce resources in alleviating the suffering of Nigeria. That was his position. Nigerians came in and said a lot. But shockingly, Okupe, who had worked with Peter Obi, jumped in immediately into the win just to respond to Peter Obi, and it was quite shocking for most people. Let's just look at exactly what he had to say, talking about the former presidential spokesperson to LP, Dr. Donye Okupe. He described the impression that no one is in charge of the country with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Vice President Shetima foreign trip as misleading. In other words, he's trying to tell Peter Obi that you are misleading Nigeria with that notion that the president is not in town, the vice president is not in town. Okupe, who is the former director general of Peter Obi Presidential Campaign Organization, said this in an interview in Lagos. He said president and chief executive globally do take time off to rest for a little time. Even in war situation, field commanders go off duties to cool off from war theaters. The impression being given that there is no one in charge is false and preposterous. The president is head of government, not government by himself. According to him, in the physical absence of the president in these days of high-tech, all arms of government, judiciary, legislature, and even the executive function 100%. In his word, I quote him, he said, whether the president is in Abuja, Kaura, Nomada, Bangshi, Oguta, Ilesha, Yenagua, London or Paris, all instruments of command and control are accessible and available to him 24/7. He said that the opposition plot to feast on the issue exposes those crass ignorance or presence of not appreciating the overriding influence of modern information management on contemporary governance. Okupe added that the coincidental and necessary temporal and brief trip of Vice President to Sweden should not be a cause for concern. Okupe said in the earlier republics, fear of military coup was the major basis for concern over the absence of both the president and his vice from the country at the same time. He said that the nation has since moved into a civilized and stable democracy. According to him, he says, in these last 2 weeks, the wheel of administration has been in top gear. Promotions and new appointments are being made. Just listen again. He said, in these last 2 weeks, the wheels of the administration has been in top gear. Promotions and new appointments are being made. Policies are being implemented to the letter. Obviously, there is no evidence of the dereliction of duty or official irresponsibility. The truth is that elections are over and political gladiators should go back to the drawing board to re-strategize for 2027. Those were the words of Okupe. And I must say, for most people, this is quite disappointing. He's of the opinion, though a lot of people have bought into his idea, that being that technology, information technology is everywhere, that though the president may be absent physically in Nigeria, it does not mean that he's totally absent from the country, considering the fact that 24/7, every communication line is open. You can reach him in Stockholm, get to tell him about what is happening. You can stay there and make decisions and all of that. And the fact that both of them are absent is because of fear of possible takeover by the military. And he says that Nigeria is in a very stable situation right now. So no need for fears. The question is, how true is this? Nigerians have reacted. Before my colleague comes in, I'm going to read one or two persons who have reacted to it. This one say, it used to be said that we have a long way to go in this country. That statement in itself convey hope that our solution is in sight, even though the distance to get there is still very far. These days, no one really says that anymore. It has dawned on everyone that there is absolutely no hope. There is no tunnel. Talk more of having light at the end of it. We are officially in a failed state, though many would argue we have been for the past 5 years at least. It's so sad that we can count men with integrity and principle on the fingers of one hand. Jesus, did you hear that? And Doyin Okupe is not one of such men. The death of such men further cement our state as fail. That's what the young man, he said that it's so sad that we can count men with integrity and principle on the fingers of one hand, which means there are scarce resources now. If just one finger in 250 million population, men of integrity, especially in the political circle, they can't go past 5 in Nigeria, and Okupe is not one of them. That calls for a lot of trouble. My colleague is in the house. What's your standpoint on this?
Well, let's call a spade a spade. Okupe says something quite unique. Yes, we understand that he was once a one-time DG to campaign for Peter Obi. But let's look at what he said critically. He's not wrong. In the days of technological advancement, all you need to do, whatever needs to be signed, you can fax it, you can scan it, you can email it to the president, and he could read through it. If it's okay for him, he can sign. And which also means that if you can employ technology in most things, then we can also employ technology in a lot of things that we're wasting our scarce resource on. One of them is building 21 billion naira house for the VP. If the VP can actually work anywhere, he can actually work from his state.
Exactly.
We do not need to waste money in renovating anywhere.
Whoa.
We can decide to even work. The president can decide to work anywhere but as well.
So we don't need to renovate.
So if he can actually be in Sweden or Stockholm, whatever it is, and still rule, then why is we wasting scarce resources renovating the VP's last 21 billion? Come on, let's get real here. So the same technology that can be used to aid and abate corruption can also be used to correct and develop Nigeria. Exactly. So if Okupe is, I'm coming from that same angle because, hey, let's tell ourselves the truth. We need to become digitalized. So if the vice president can rule in absentia without necessarily being Aso Rock, then a lot of things are wasting.
It was unnecessary, which means the building.
A lot of things were unnecessary. Honestly, now him going to taking another money or another jet to attend, that's another wastage of fuel. Of course, there's another one packed up somewhere. We don't have enough money. Scarce resources are being used. So, which means we can even use Zoom. We can use social media. We can use YouTube and run this show. Yeah. So, if he wants to come from that angle, come on, let's tell us something. Because we are looking at a situation where if they can rule in absentia, then a lot of things can be done without some of these many appointees being used. Exactly. So if Okupe wants to be smart by half, we can also come from that angle. Honestly, he said the right thing, but can we also use it to deploy this same statement he made to development? Up till now, we use over 21 billion naira to repair VP's lounge. How many hours does he stay in that lounge? Now he has gone for one meeting or the other.
2 days working visits.
He's not there. So which means he can actually have worked from anywhere. That is 1 billion. Redeploy it to people. Redeploy to other pressing needs. Look at how roads that have been repaired. And now look at taxation. Nigerians are going to pay for what they don't even enjoy. Some of these things, they borrow money, they will borrow money. I begin to wonder, where is it in the economy? And now you're going to tax people who didn't even enjoy this money. Now there's going to be removal of subsidy. All of this is skyrocketing. And if they can rule in absentia, which means Nigerians cannot even walk up to them and say, please change the policy. They're not even in the country for you to talk to them. They'll just stay somewhere and be watching what is happening in Nigeria. Tell Nigeria from whatever device they're in, say, please be calm, we are feeling your pains. So they can actually rule in absentia. So let's do the same thing.
Wow, this is really serious. And it's quite unfortunate that Nigeria has found itself in this situation. But however, I'd like to leave it there.